Hey y'all, we're going to keep learning about improper fraction and mixed numbers, okay? An improper fraction is going to be something like 4 halves. This is an improper fraction. The reason this is an improper fraction is because usually you see things like 1/2, where the numerator is less than the denominator. But notice here that our numerator, 4, is greater than our denominator. So if I had 4 halves, we'll take a look. This would be 2 halves, and 2 halves make a whole. But I don't have just 2 halves. I have 4 halves. So that would equal 2 wholes. So this would equal Big Daddy 2. 2 wholes. So 4 halves is equivalent to 2. Okay, so improper fractions is one thing we're going to be looking at today. Another thing we're going to be looking at today is mixed numbers. So a mixed number is when I'm going to mix a whole number with a fraction. So let's say I have 2 and 1/4. That would mean I would have 2 wholes, 2 wholes, and these are all 4s because I partitioned my whole into 4 equal parts, or as best I can anyways. So I would have 2 wholes and 1/4. And it's a mixed number because it has a whole number mixed with a fraction. So we have improper fractions where our numerator is greater than our denominator. And we have a mixed number where I'm mixing together my whole numbers with my fractions. Okay, let's take a look at the models that they give us. So take a look at number 1. If you'll take a look at that first model, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 shaded out of 5. So that's 1 whole, and that'd be fifths. So I have 1 whole and how much of my second model? 3 of the 5. So my mixed number would be 1 whole and 3 fifths. If I'm talking about an improper fraction, well, these are fifths, and this is out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are also out of 5 total parts. So these represent fifths. So how many fifths in all? Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is 8 fifths shaded. Okay, so 8 fifths is my improper fraction. And my 1 and 3 fifths is my mixed number. And guess what? They represent the same value. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. What did they partition our wholes into? Let's 1, 2, 3 parts of the whole. So these would be thirds. Three parts of each whole. All right, so let's see. Let's start. What do you want to start? Let's start with our mixed number again. So this would be 1 whole. So this represents 1 whole. So 1, 2, 3 wholes. And how much of this one is shaded? 1 out of the 3. So this is 3 wholes and 1/3 of the last model. So that's our mixed number. We mix in our whole numbers and our fractions. Now, improper fractions. Well, how many thirds? These are all thirds. How many thirds in all? That's 3, 6, 9, and one more is 10. What? Thirds. 10 thirds. Let's take a look at number 3. This one represents a whole. And how many total parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 parts of the whole. So this would be 1 whole and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of how many in all? 10. And 7 tenths. If we have a mixed number, these are all tenths, right? There's 10 parts of this whole. There's 10 parts of this whole. So this would represent 10 tenths. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's 17 tenths shaded. Here, these are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 6, 6. This is 6, 6. And this is only one of these 6. So this represents 2 wholes and 1 6. So 2 wholes and 1 6. That represents my mixed number. And then this would be 6, 6, and that's 6, 6. So 6 and 6 is 12. And one more is 13. So that's 13. What are they partitioned into? 6. Okay, I want us to take a look at our numerators and denominators, focusing on the denominators. Notice that these are describing fifths, these describe fifths. Okay, I like to call our denominator our diva. Let's take a look. Our diva, it's all about the diva. She's kind of selfish, and it's all about her. So fifths, our denominators stay the same. Our diva stayed the same. Take a look. We were describing thirds. We were describing thirds. So our diva was thirds. Our diva here was tenths. Notice that it did not change because the diva is selfish and it's all about her. And then I have my 6. So my diva was 6, okay? So keep in mind that my denominator is my diva. Okay, so take a look at this bottom section. They did not give us models to represent it. So we have got to turn it into a mixed number. Okay, so I have 48 twelfths. So my whole would be 12 twelfths, correct? So I would have 12 twelfths here. And what if I had another 12 twelfths here? So far that would be what? 24 twelfths? What if I have another one? What if I have another 12 twelfths? Well, that would be 12 and 12 and 12 twelfths. So that's 2, 4, 6. So far we're at 36 twelfths, but I need to represent 48 twelfths. What if I had another whole that had twelfths? Let's see. Oh, there would be our 48. So we need one more 12 twelfths. So that equals, what's our mixed number? 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes. I would represent 4 wholes. Let's take a look at 6. What's our diva? Halves, right? So how many halves? How many times can 2 go into 13? Well, I would have 2 halves, 2, 4 halves, 6 halves, 8 halves, 10 halves, 12 halves, and then I'm already at 12, so I only get 1 half there to make that 13 halves. So what does this represent? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wholes, and only 1 half there. All right, so we have 17 fifths. Who's our diva? Fifths. So we know our whole is going to be 5 fifths. So this whole is going to represent 5 fifths. If I have another 5 fifths, that makes 10 fifths total. If I have another 5 fifths, that'd be 15 fifths. But I can only have 2 more. So I have 5 parts. 1, 2. So fifths. So I have 5, 10, 15 fifths, 16, 17 fifths. So that represents 3 wholes. And how much of this last one? 2 of those fifths. Take a look at 8. We have what's our diva? 8. So we have eighths. So we're going to be counting by eighths. So this would represent 8 eighths to make that whole. What's 2 groups of eighths? 16 eighths. What's another group of 8? What's 3 groups of 8? 24 eighths. What's another group of eights? That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 times 8. 32. 5 groups of 8 would be 40, so that's too much. So this one I'm going to have to split into eighths. So let's say 1, 2. All right, there's my eighths. So I have my eighths, 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 eighths. I'm labeling, these are actually called unit fractions. It's one part of the whole. So I have 8, 16, 24, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. So this represented 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 eighths of my last model. All right, let's see. 43 tenths. Who's my diva? She's the tenths. So we're going to say 10 tenths would represent a whole. Here's another 10 tenths. What would be 20 tenths? Here's another 10 tenths, which is 30 tenths. Here's my 40 tenths. And then how many of this tenths will I have? I will just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's my tenths. Let's see, 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43. So that represents 4 wholes and 3 of those tenths. All right, we have a few more to go. So we have 21 fourths. Our diva is fourths. So I'd have 4 fourths. 4 fourths. That's 8 fourths. 4 fourths. That's 4, 8, 12. 4 fourths. That's 16. 4 fourths. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 4 would be 20. And then my last fourth, that's 20. I only get 21. One more. So that represents 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wholes and 1 fourth. All right. So you guys are now going to be in charge of completing mixed numbers 3. Now, on mixed numbers 3, it is going to be for grade. So I'll be looking to check for accuracy, but I will be assigning you a grade as well. So begin a grade today as well as Friday. But take a look. All of yours that I'm expecting you to do today all have models to help you represent them. So you guys will be just fine, because I know that was a little heavy, but I wanted y'all to see that. So take a look at 1. This represents 1 whole and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many are shaded of these 8? And 6 eighths. So my mixed number is 1 whole and 6 eighths. Well, if all of these are 8s, that's 8 eighths to represent the whole. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 eighths. So that's your improper fraction. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me.